relationship like men have to do. So that's why I feel like the disconnect is women talk like it's very easy for this man to just communicate what you're not doing and I'll go fix it. That's not the case. Most women, right, don't take criticism real, right? So even if she asks you something, let's say, you know what, are you making me happy? And I look at you and say, no.
What would you be doing with a woman that's not making you happy? What would you be doing with a woman that has all these shortcomings? Like, these are things that I don't understand. If you as a man, what would you be doing with a woman that's not fulfilling your requirements? Because it really sounds like you didn't set the standards. That's what it really sounds like. It don't sound like there's anything wrong with the woman. It sounds like it's something wrong with you. And it sounds like because there's something wrong with you, because you ain't set your own standards, you ended up with the wrong woman. Now you got all this criticism. What you got all this criticism for, bro? If your program was set, if you knew who you were, if you had a masculine identity and you was steadfast in it and you understood what you required from a woman, why would there be all of this criticism and all these things you need to lay out to a woman?
You're not doing this. I feel like your cooking is not that good.
What you stand with her for? If you know cooking is important to you, why are you with a woman that can't cook?
I feel like I'm not getting sex as frequently as I would like.
I can tell you the reason why you're not getting sex as frequently as you want to, because at the beginning of the relationship, you let her string you along. You let her force you and lead you into taking her on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dates before you smelt the vagina. You let that happen. So now that you're in the relationship, she gets to dictate how often sex happens, just like she was doing from the beginning of the relationship. Why? Because you had no masculine identity and you had no standards. You had no requirements. You had no instructions.
Like, or as frequently as you advertise when we were in a dating stage.
As frequently as you advertise. What does her advertisement got to do with your requirements? What does her advertisements have to do with your requirements? You see, this is where a lot of guys go wrong. They let a woman dictate a lot of different things in a relationship. And then later on, when things are happening, they want to have all these complaints when you were supposed to set the standard from the beginning. These are men who don't understand leadership. These are men who don't understand what they're doing with relationships. They don't understand the vetting process. They don't understand their own value. They don't understand how to design the type of life and relationship that they actually want with these women. They're macking on accident. They're getting with chicks that they're not compatible with, and they're trying to make it work. They're trying to force a square peg through a circle hole.
I feel like you are not that attentive to me and things that you don't benefit from.
Why would you be with a woman that is not attentive to things that are important to you that she don't necessarily benefit from? Why would you stay with a woman like that, bro? You see, this is the part that I'm trying to explain to y'all about having a masculine identity, about how to design the lifestyle that you really want, about what really happens to a lot of men out there who are not in the type of relationships that they truly want. And then they try to blame the woman. You were the one that was supposed to set the standard and let her know from the beginning what was supposed to happen. This is something that you didn't do. You can't blame the woman at this point.
I feel like, XYZ, a man get to laying that shit out to most women. If we're going to be honest, she going to, like, all she heard is what I'm not doing. And typically how that.
And the reason why
it goes is it gets flipped immediately.
The reason why it gets flipped back on you is because you allowed her to set the standard in the beginning of the relationship. So whatever you say, she can flip it back on you because you had no standards from the beginning. So she doesn't have to listen to you at all. You can make all the complaints that you want, but she can always flip it back on you because she know that you are spineless and weak, and you let her set the standards from the beginning. So she can be combative. She can flip things back on you, and she doesn't have to have any respect for any of the quote unquote criticisms or complaints that you now have in the relationship, because from the very beginning, you've been following her around.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you do this or what you doing, instead of actually taking the.
Men don't argue with their women. Actual men do not argue with women. Actual men do not argue with the women that they're in relationships with. If a woman is not a respectable, submissive helpmate to a man, she doesn't get a real man's time. Guys that think like, I don't know this guy personally, but guys that think like this are males. They're only considered males because of the genitalia that they have between their legs, but their mindset is very feminine because they consider themselves to be equal to women. A man knows that he's not equal to a woman. Therefore, he doesn't argue with a woman. He gives her instruction. He tells her what it is based on his identity and based on what the program that he has laid out already is. Either she complies with it or she goes and works for another company.
The criticism that a man's giving you, going back to work on it and implementing it into the relationship, like men have to do. So that,
like men have, you hear him? Like men have to do. No, bro, you set the standard from the beginning based on your identity. You don't let no woman dictate to you what criticisms you have to improve on and bring it back into the relationship. No, what you do is you set the standard based on your identity from the very beginning. So the only thing you have to do from that point is be who you are from an honest and righteous place. That's all you have to do. Once you get caught up into situations like this, you've lost. You've showed your weakness. You've showed that you're just here to try. You're here to make an attempt to be what a woman expects you to be instead of you actually being the man that you are based on your actual masculine identity.
That's why I feel like the disconnect is women talk like it's very easy for this man to just communicate what you're not doing and I'll go fix it. That's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Fix what? That's why you got to vet women. Because if it's month 3 and she's still not doing the things that you require of her, then you have to let her go. See, this is what I like. This is what I always talk about when I talk about the difference between compromise and sacrifice. Most men are not willing to sacrifice, meaning that most men are not willing to get rid of a woman if she can't come with it. If she can't meet the requirements, he's not willing to get rid of her. He's going to try to work it out. So that means he's going to argue back and forth with this woman to try to figure things out. Why? Because he doesn't know who he is. If you haven't got it figured out when you're by yourself, what makes you think you're going to have it figured out when a whole nother human being with all their complications and experiences and history and everything that makes them who they are comes into the situation and complicates everything? What makes you think that's going to happen? If from the beginning you don't know who you are and the standards that you want to set for your relationship and your lifestyle. This is the problem, guys. This is the problem. These men love to get into relationships with these women and complain instead of knowing who they are, knowing the quality of life and the quality of relationships that they would like to partake in and conduct. Instead of understanding what that is, they want to sit here and complain. It's weak. This is a heavy lack of game on the part of these so-called men. These guys are not men. Men don't wait till months in and continue to criticize and tell a woman all of this and all of that. And then instead of complying, she gonna flip things back on you and then you're gonna have some type of argument. What does a man really look like sitting there arguing with a woman? None of that stuff makes sense, guys. And I know there's a couple of y'all that don't believe me. It's a couple of y'all that think exactly like this guy. But you need to understand your value as a man. You need to understand that a woman is a helpmate. A woman is a follower. But in order to have a woman follow, you have to understand how to be a leader, correct? Most men don't understand how to be a leader. But anyway, it's your boy, Miles Cunningham. Hope you got something from this video. Hope you're having a great day. Be good to yourself. And remember, the truth is inside you. Peace.